Morning guys, welcome back to the channel. Okay, so today we're going to change the drum heads on these two toms. So follow along, be a simple, quick guide, nothing fancy, how I change drum heads. Going to use toms here, but actually the same applies for bass drums, snare drums, whatever. The only difference is really in the final tuning. So let's go. Right, what do we need? The drum, a cloth, the drum head, a drum key, although I'm using two. Right, this is a Tama Superstar Classic, 12-inch tom. Currently it's got a Remo pinstripe, which is a clear 2-ply head. On the bottom I have a Clear Ambassador, and I want to change to a single-ply Remo Coated Ambassador on the top, because these sound a little bit modern. Fine. But I want something a bit more classic sounding. So, first things first, we take the drum head off. So, using two drum keys just makes the whole process a little bit quicker. What I'm going to do is loosen all the lugs, basically until they come free of the tension rod, come free of the lugs. There we go, and I'm going to leave them in the rim, because the idea is I want to try to take the rim off with the tension rods all in one piece. Okay, there's only 6 lugs / tension rods on here. I think there might be 8 on that floor tom. So, first step, done. And obviously, as you can see, 2 drum keys makes the process a lot quicker. And you don't worry about it. For beginners who've not done this before, you're not going to break anything. So, just relax. There it is. So, got the rim off, tension rod's still on. Now here's where the cloth comes in. What I just do is give it a quick wipe round, just to make sure any debris or dust or particles aren't there. That's pretty clean. Anyway, just pop that to one side, take the head off. So there it is. Put that over there. Now, just going to wipe the bearing edge here. These are really clean, actually. So once that's done, here is our new head. Well, I had this on for 1 gig. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it on, just seat it nicely. You can see here the logo for the drum is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the logo for the head just there, so it lines up. You obviously don't have to do that, but I am. So we just put it on, press it down slightly, make sure it's square or round, and then what I'm going to do is drop the rim back on here. So the first stage is to just seat each of the tension rods so that the thread grips. This one's a bit more complicated on this side because it's got this rims mount, but essentially you just do 1 or 2 turns so that it starts to grip into the lug. Right, okay, so there we are, they're all on, everything's square. Now, next step then, we'll just tighten all these down, but you don't really tighten them, just spin them on until they're basically just starting to touch. We're not tight at all. Tighten this one here, or these 2. Again, using 2 drum keys makes it so much quicker. So we're not even finger tight yet. Hasn't started to tension on the rim at all. So step 1 was to loosen the tension rods, take the rim off. Step 2, we just polished around or just cleaned around, making sure there were no bits of debris or whatever on the inside of the rim or on the bearing edge of the drum. Step 3 was to place this on. So you'll see videos of people pre-stretching the heads. I tend not to do that. I just make sure they're seated properly, just gentle pressure there and around the rim, so we know everything's good. Now, finger tight. What is finger tight? Well, finger tight is basically just snug, not as tight as you can go, but the idea is, you can see we've already got some pitch there, the idea is to get stuff seated so they're all kind of even. Then, what do we do? Well, I take a drum key on each side and I'm going to give it just a half turn on opposites, and I'm going to move around to here and I'm going to give this a half turn on opposites, and you can kind of feel whether you've over tightened or under tightened one. So it needs to be gripping, but really just Just takes a bit of experience. You won't get it wrong though. There we are, half turn on each. And if you wanted to at this stage, you'll give it another quick push. Feel free to pause the video at any point to catch up or rewind or whatever. But now, okay, we've got a little bit of tension in each one. Now you'll notice, it doesn't sound like anything at the moment. And you'll also notice that what I'm doing is I've got the drum on the ground or on a surface. That's because I only want to hear this head ringing and not be interfering with the other one. So now, because that's still fairly slack, I'm just going to do a quarter turn on each one, and you might start to feel like this one here felt a bit loose, so I just turned it up a bit, because don't forget, as you turn one set, it's going to pull the rim round the whole, pull the whole rim down. Again, just give it a quick other seat. Now, it's here where we're starting to listen for differences in pitch. And I can't know whether you can actually hear this, but they're all similar. That one seems higher. So now, I'm just going to go to one drum key. I'm just going to go around, not worrying about opposites now. Just tweak all those up. Okay, here we go then. We can hear this one. These two seem about the same pitch. There's lots of overtones you can hear as well. So sometimes just putting a finger in the middle, but just gently. But that one's lower. So the aim is to get them all roughly the same. That's probably a bit high. Now, when one's a bit high, what I tend to do is come below where I want it to be and then back up. See, higher, slightly lower. If you listen to these reference pitches and make yours match. Right, so it's starting to sound like a drum, but it still doesn't sound great now then. So, relationship between top and bottom heads. Well, this is kind of trial and error, to be honest, a little bit. But I'm just going to turn this over. Here's the bottom head. And you can hear that's actually quite high. So I think what I might do is I'm just going to drop this slightly. So I'm just going to go around, maybe even not even a quarter turn, all the way around. Bring this down. That's close. Now I want the top head to be the same. So I want to go up about a tone. So I'll give each one, nearly there actually. Let's do another comparison. Let's use this cloth to protect the floor and the drum. Bit low. So again, you don't have to worry about opposites at this point. Just go around, thinking. You see, this one's a bit low. So up here. Remember, if you turn one, it'll affect the others. Okay, we're about the same. This isn't exact yet, to be honest. And here's what it sounds like now. I'm actually fairly happy with that, to be honest with you. So I'll try and even it out. You can go on forever, to be honest with you, but actually a little bit low. Okay guys, so what we're doing then basically is we're bringing them up to be the same pitch on each lug. And in this case, what I'm wanting to do, the relationship between my top and bottom head, I want to basically be the same. Now you can tune the bottom head higher than the top head, or the same as, or lower than, and it has a different effect on the pitch over the overall drum, and sometimes on the sustain and what have you. These are both single ply heads, and so I tend to think that if I have them the same in terms of tension, the drum will sound fine. If you have a twin ply head on the top and a single ply head on the bottom, then sometimes what people will say is have the twin ply batter head slightly lower in pitch than the resonant head on the bottom. To be honest, I don't really know what effect the difference is, apart from maybe slight resonance or slight pitch difference, but to me, that's quite nice. Okay, well I'm going to call that one done. Right, here's the floor tom then. So remember, step one, loosen, there's 8 tension rods or lugs on this one, so it's going to take us a little bit longer, but there's the first 2 loose. I actually quite enjoy doing this. I mean, obviously I've got to the point of being able to do it fairly quickly. There we go. Oops, but these drum keys, by the way, are Tama ones. I got them with some kits that I bought over time, and they're really good because they're quite weighty, and you can spin them nicely. But already, I'm going to see people using attachments for drills to do this. To be honest, well, I wouldn't want to do that. I might strip the threads out or something, but there we are, look. It's off. Okay, so remember, lift it off. Step 2, I'm just going to, with my finger, because it's on the cloth, just go through around that. That's pretty clean, to be honest. That's good. Old head, off. So let's make sure the bearing edge is clean. Well, I know these are. It's a nicely made drums. It's Tama Superstar Classic. There's really, frankly, nothing much wrong with them. Okay, there's the badge. There's the logo. So I'm going to line it up. We'll line it up. Yep. Right. Okay, we can drop this on. Doing our best to get all the tension rods down the side. Again, yeah, this is all physical stuff. Just be gentle. You aren't going to do anything wrong. Just experiment. Okay, let's get each of the tension rods to grip. Just start them off in the thread. Okay. Again, if you were doing a snare drum, the process would be the same. Obviously on the snare side, the head's a lot thinner, the snare side head, so you have to be a bit more careful. And also the tensions involved are quite a lot higher. I haven't done a video on that, although I've got a video on how to tune a snare. There's loads of videos on the internet about how to tune drums. To be honest with you, just watch them all and then develop your own thing. That's how I learnt. So remember, as we tension these, we're not starting to actually tighten the rim down yet. We're just getting them so this just touch it. Spin them in. And you want the tensions to be roughly even, so we have to start off. That's why we start off with finger tight, although I don't really, you could probably call it finger loose, to be honest, because it's just starting to touch. It's just touching the rim there, just before it starts to press down on it. Oops. Okay, so there we go, that's it. So already, we're only what, 5 or 6 minutes into the video? Maybe more, I don't know, but we've already changed one head and nearly done this one as well. Okay, so remember, make sure everything's nice and seated, a little bit of a press, but nothing much. And then we're just going to go finger tight, just so they start to bite. Okay, right then, because there's 8 lugs here, we can do a slightly different pattern. So I'm going to start with this one closest to me, and I'm going to go quarter turn. You can go half turn, but quarter will do. Now we've done that one. Now I'm going to skip one and go to this one. It doesn't really matter though. Then I'm going to skip one. Actually, I can't, I'll have to go to that one now. See, I've already got it wrong. There we go. So I know I've done a quarter turn on each of them. So let's see. So remember, we want the reference pitch of what the other side sounds like. I'm just going to take this down slightly, just a little bit, because I'm after a bit of a deeper sound, I think. So here we go. So let's do that. Listen, if I have this lifted up, it gets more confusing though. So put it there so you only get the one head you're doing. So let's remember that. Well, it's way off, isn't it? So we're going to go another quarter turn. I'll just go around like this time. Remembering. No, not yet. So I'm just going to put down the other drum key. Just go around one at a time. But I'm doing the same turning on each one. Let's just listen. We're getting there. Don't try and go straight there. Quarter turns at a time. Trying to even out the differences. Listen. That one. They're the same now. That one's lower. Now we're starting to get a definite pitch. Right, we're not far off, are we? Listen to this bottom one. So it's like not even a semitone, so very slightly on each one. This is literally an eighth of a turn. Get in there, listen. It's about there. Actually, it doesn't sound too bad, does it? So here's this one. Give the rattle, it's all the hard bit. Maybe a bit high, this one. Or maybe this one's a bit low. So yeah, I think this one's a little bit high for my liking. So actually what I'm going to do is I'll just press on the head slightly. Let's see. Yeah, so that's dropped it down slightly. Sounds about right. Press on this, it'll just stretch it a bit. Don't worry about those noises, it's fine. A little bit high still. At this point it's literally, it is just experimenting. So listen. Well, roughly. Yay. Okay, so. And here. That'll probably do for now, actually. So, there we go. So what we've got there is a nice vintagey sound. So, summary then. Unscrew all the tension rods, take the rim off, give it a quick wipe, take the old head off, chuck it away or keep it, clean the surface or just dust it, just get any bits off, put the new head on, don't press it down too much. You can see I've occasionally done that a little bit during the tuning process, but I'm not leaning on it massively. It's just to make, it's not to stretch it. I don't actually think you really need to do that anymore, to be honest, with these modern heads. I never really do, and they stay in tune fine, but sometimes it can just help just to seat it properly inside the rim. And then what we do, finger tight, then go around, quarter turn, half turn, start to get a pitch from the head, and then it's a matter of what was the other head doing, and then where do you want it? Do you want the batter head or the other head lower or higher? It's just experimentation. But the key is you only want to hear one head going at once, and these will obviously sound quite high on its own, but the combination of the two actually gives you the fundamental pitch of the drum, and then it's just experiment. But you trying to get each lug to be the same. So I don't like things like tension dials because, well, you can just use your ears. Or I find I can use my ears for the pitch. You've heard me singing the pitches and comparing them. Things like TuneBot, I've had one, but I don't use it, so I sold it. But basically, there we are. So, like and subscribe if you found this useful. Hopefully you have, and you were able to follow along. But any questions, please put them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Meantime, thanks very much for watching, guys. See you soon. Take it easy.